because I don't think anyone can argue Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA. We know she broke all those records in college, but what was it about Caitlin that has just garnered so much attention and changed things the way that she has?
You know, Rihanna, obviously she's a basketball player, clearly, as you can see, but she's also an entertainer.
No one can deny it anymore. Caitlin Clark has changed the game, not just in college, but in the WNBA as well. She shattered every major scoring record in college basketball. But her impact goes far beyond numbers. Caitlin Clark has become a cultural phenomenon, bringing unprecedented attention to women's basketball, and forcing the league to confront its own.
And it seems like every story or excerpt or interview that Christine does turns up the heat a little bit more on what Caitlin Clark's first year in the WNBA looked like, and the lack of preparation from the league level to the players to, you know, even logistically. This league was not ready for this phenomenon to take over.
Shortcomings. Christine Brennan's explosive new bestseller about Caitlin Clark isn't just a hit, it's a wake-up call. What was supposed to be a celebratory look at Clark's rookie season has turned into a damning expose. The book reveals a league.
This league is full of drama. Absolute drama. Now, we knew when Christine Brennan, the journalist who wrote the upcoming Caitlin Clark book, the stories emerging from this book is going to light the league on fire. I mean, seriously. We got an altercation between Brennan and Dejanay Carrington. It doesn't even have to do with the eye gouge, which we know Dejanay flipped her wig off over.
Completely unprepared for the tidal wave of interest and change Clark would bring. From the league office to the locker room, the WNBA was caught flat-footed. Brennan's book details how league officials failed to grasp just how massive this moment was. One unnamed insider even compared Clark's arrival to Maya Moore's debut, a comparison that, while well-intentioned, only highlights how badly the league underestimated what was coming. Let's be clear, Maya Moore is a legend. But Clark's arrival came with immediate.
Christine spoke with somebody from the W who she did not name, and she asked that person, do you know how big this is going to be? And that person responded, yeah, this should be the biggest thing since Maya Moore. Now, Maya Moore is an all-time great player. Maya Moore has never sniffed what Caitlin Clark has meant to the profile of women's basketball. And Christine Brennan was shocked that they would compare it to that.
A storm, a national spotlight, and global interest that no player in WNBA history has ever generated. We're talking sellout crowds, exploding TV ratings, and fans traveling from as far as Hawaii and Mexico just to catch a glimpse of her in action. And yet, the league wasn't ready. Instead of celebrating the biggest star women's basketball has ever seen, the WNBA found itself scrambling. Brennan's book reveals behind-the-scenes chaos, jealousy.
Caitlin Clark is way more important to the WNBA than Tiger Woods was to men's golf, even though he was huge. And to then see this negativity, like why? And what should have been done? I looked seriously at the leadership of the WNBA. And how could you not be prepared for this moment? You've seen it happening in the Big Ten. You've seen it at Iowa. You see these TV ratings. And then
from some veteran players and questionable leadership decisions. From on-court cheap shots to off-court pettiness, it's clear some people didn't want Clark to succeed, or simply didn't know how to handle her success. What's even more telling? The marketplace has spoken. While other players struggle to fill half-empty arenas, Caitlin Clark has helped sell out nearly every venue she's played in. Her book went straight to #1. No other WNBA player, past or present,
people are doing a really good job promoting it for. I mean, for the folks who are against the Brennan notion or the promotion, they surely are doing a lot of promoting for her. I mean, Dejanay Carrington.
And say that. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about star power, cultural relevance, and the uncomfortable truth. One player has become bigger than the league itself. Clark's influence is international. Fans are flying in from around the world. Her logo threes are going viral. And while the league tries to control the narrative, the truth is out. The WNBA had a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and they weren't ready for it. This is a moment that could redefine women's sports forever. But only if the powers that be stop resisting it.
And this person said, well, this is probably the biggest thing that happened in the WNBA since Maya Moore. And Maya Moore is a great basketball player. and deserved to have the kind of attention that Caitlin Clark is getting, but never got it. The notion that the WNBA wasn't ready for this, couldn't believe that this could happen, I think it's set in motion so many of the issues and the conversations we've had about the jealousy and the concern that we see from some of the players, the cheap shot hits, Kennedy Carter last year and Marina Mabry this year, Dana, that it just was the sense that this incredible thing is happening to the WNBA and the league seems completely, utterly unprepared for.
And start embracing what Caitlin Clark truly represents. Caitlin Clark didn't just boost interest in the WNBA, she introduced women's basketball to the world. Young fans are traveling hundreds of miles just to catch a glimpse of her. Families are planning vacations around her games. When she's healthy and on the court, ticket sales skyrocket and games are moved to massive arenas like the Capital One Arena in DC and T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, all to handle the crowds coming just for her. This isn't typical fanfare. These are Clark fans, not necessarily WNBA fans, who discovered the league through her. And when she's not playing, ticket prices crash.
What's going on, y'all? This is Juice on the court. This is GT. Look, I just met a young fan right here who traveled over 852 miles in CCC. You go make sure you get this box checked off, all right? So y'all stay locked in, all right? Let's get it.
By as much as 70% within 48 hours. That's not speculation, it's data. This is exactly what's making league executives sweat. Caitlin Clark isn't just a promising rookie. She's the engine of the entire league's growth. Her appeal goes far beyond basketball. It's global, it's cultural, and, most importantly, it's personal. People feel connected to her. While other WNBA players struggle for media attention and followers, Clark gets the red carpet from one of the world's biggest publishers. Christine Brennan's unauthorized biography wasn't just published, it was treated like a national event. Dozens of sources. Weeks of on-the-ground reporting. No cooperation from Clark herself. And still, a massive bestseller. Why? Because people are desperate for the truth. This book isn't just about...
We're going on vacation to Las Vegas, and we are going to go see Caitlin Clark at the Indiana Fever against
Aces.
the Aces.
No way! We already have tickets. Really?
Thank you. Thank you.
Caitlin Clark, once in a lifetime opportunity.
Thank you, guys.
Stats or sportsmanship. It's about how the WNBA fumbled the biggest opportunity it's ever had. How a league that constantly talks about visibility and growth failed to protect, promote, and prepare for the one player who could actually deliver both. Veteran players have publicly questioned Clark's rise. But it's not about likability. It's about excellence. And Clark is excellent, both on the court and under pressure. Brennan, a veteran journalist with 21 Olympic Games under her belt, said Clark handled questions most athletes would avoid, directly, calmly, and with surprising humor and depth for someone only 22 years old.
All right, Black and White sports supporters, let's talk about Dejanay Carrington because she's angry. Dejanay's mad. That's right, she's mad about Christine Brennan's book and some of the stories that are emerging from said book. Now, what's interesting about what it is that Dejanay's saying here is you do realize there were witnesses to said story that came out. And if you actually pulled the journalist in the court, they're going to bring those witnesses in and be like, she walked in and this is exactly what happened. And the judge is going to look over at you and go,
But while Clark stepped up, the league shrank back. The most damning revelations in Brennan's book aren't about locker room tension. They're about the league's failure to protect its biggest star. Clark has endured more flagrant fouls than any other player in the WNBA. On most nights, it feels like she's playing tackle basketball without a whistle. Officials miss the calls. League leaders stay quiet. And fans, especially parents, are asking why a billion-dollar asset is being allowed to get battered on national TV. Even Clark's teammate, Sophie Cunningham, has had to step in as her unofficial bodyguard. It shouldn't be like this. Tennis icon Chris Evert called Clark the best thing to ever happen to women's basketball, and questioned the league's silence. When you've got adult film actresses publicly criticizing the WNBA for failing to protect a 22-year-old rookie, you know something.
Olympics ended in Paris, came back, went to Indy, and I was with the Fever every step of the way.
Wow.
I got a chance to ask her 40 to 50 questions. Everything was, nothing was off limits. And she is, as I say in the book, she's 22 going on 40 or 50. Everything
you can
thrown
tell.
at her. I asked her about her like of the Taylor Swift post about Kamala Harris, endorsing Kamala Harris. Would she be endorsing her? You could ask those kinds of questions. Most athletes, as you know, aren't happy when you ask those questions. She looks you in the eye. She gives you long answers. She's direct. She's also very, very funny. And everything was thrown at her. And she handled it in a beautiful way. I say this to...
Thing is deeply broken. What's most infuriating is that the WNBA is happy to use Clark's image for ticket sales, promos, and media deals. But when it comes to defending her on the court, they vanish. This is more than bad optics. It's organizational negligence. And it's happening in plain sight. The truth is uncomfortable. The WNBA wanted the attention and the money, but wasn't ready for what Caitlin Clark actually brought. Her story is not just about basketball, it's about what happens when a woman's excellence challenges the system around her. Clark has been poked, shoved, and snubbed, not just by opponents, but by the very structure meant to support her. What should have been her triumphant rookie season has exposed everything from poor planning to petty jealousy. One sports economist estimates that Clark's presence alone could generate over $1 billion in economic impact this season, through tourism, merchandise, media rights, and more. That's not hype. That's math. And yet, despite all this, Clark shows up, game after game, with composure far beyond her years. This is the moment the WNBA was supposed to rise. And instead, it blinked. While other WNBA players struggle to translate...
This is a perfect textbook example of Mean Girls. Woman-on-woman indirect violence. Snubbing a woman who's excellent simply because she got honored. This is an unbelievable example of the ways in which when a woman is excellent or ambitious, other women go silent. Or we start to ask the question, is she likable? That's not relevant. This isn't about likability. This is about whether or not she's excellent. So, sports writers and the public voter is one of the best point guards in the country. Other women, 9th best. So the men are scratching their heads. This is why we need ampleship. Women supporting other women in front of witnesses because they're excellent.
Online popularity into real economic value, Caitlin Clark is doing the unthinkable, turning attention into dollars, for herself, and for the entire league. The numbers Christine Brennan cites in her book are staggering. When Clark was healthy, the Indiana Fever averaged 1.81 million viewers per game. But the moment she went down with injury, viewership dropped to 847,000. A 53% plunge, exposing just how dependent the WNBA has become on a single player. Ticket prices tell the same story. With Clark on the court, average ticket prices hovered around $137. Without her, they plummeted to $80. Even at those lower prices, arenas were visibly emptier. One player's absence changed the financial ecosystem overnight. Indiana shattered the WNBA single-season attendance record with over 643,000 fans across 40 games, more than 200,000 higher than the next best team. And the Fever didn't even have a winning record. The crowds came for one reason, Caitlin Clark. Here in Iowa, people understood Clark's drawing power long before the league did. But has the WNBA fully realized what they have? Publicly.
Here in Iowa, we were the first to realize Caitlin's pull on fans. When do you think the WNBA fully realized what it had?
Publicly, I'm not sure that they really have. They certainly know. They have to know, Keith. But in terms of the comments, in terms of the way the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, who I've known and I like, the way she has trouble talking about Caitlin Clark, or if she's asked about Caitlin, then she will say, well, Caitlin and Angel. Well, she wasn't asked about Angel. She was asked about Caitlin.
The response has been hesitant, almost resistant. Even the commissioner struggles to talk about Clark directly. She pivots, deflects, or downplays. And that silence speaks volumes. Perhaps the most damaging revelation in Brennan's book is the Olympic snub. Clark was left off the 2024 U.S. Olympic team, a decision that stunned fans and analysts alike. The result? Viewership for the women's gold medal basketball game in Paris fell to 7.8 million, the lowest since 2008. Even the U.S. women's soccer final, often considered less popular, drew over 9.4 million viewers. The Washington Post called Team USA's decision to leave Clark off the roster one of the worst sports blunders of the year. After the backlash, selection committee member Dawn Staley even admitted on NBC that, knowing what they know now, Clark would have been in very high consideration. That's code for, we got it wrong. They weren't just choosing a team, they were making a statement. And that statement backfired. Brennan's book makes it clear, Clark's exclusion wasn't about merit. Her stats outpaced several players who made the roster. This was about optics.
Apparently, the leadership in U.S. women's basketball was so worried about people's reactions to Clark's playing time, so concerned about critical posts on X and Facebook and the like, that they didn't want to deal with any of it. That is honestly, it's not fair to her.
Well, it is, and I've covered the Olympics for a long time, actually since the '84 LA Games, and I've never seen a worse team selection decision ever. Here you've got this person who's not only playing great at that point, her statistics were better than some of the players they did put on the Olympic team.
Officials feared the backlash if she didn't play enough. They worried about viral tweets, about criticism. Instead of stepping up to the moment, they hid from it. For decades, the WNBA and USA Basketball said they wanted growth. Then came the biggest opportunity in a generation, and they flinched. Clark isn't just popular in America. Her reach is global. Fans travel from Europe, Mexico, and even Hawaii just to watch her play. Her jerseys are flying off shelves in cities that don't even have WNBA teams. That's not a fluke, that's brand power. And that's what's making WNBA executives so nervous. Because Clark's brand is bigger than their league. Brennan even floated a bold possibility. What if Clark, backed by Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson, created her own league? It sounds radical, until you remember that she's earning over $40 million annually in endorsements, while her WNBA salary is only $76,000. She doesn't need the WNBA. The WNBA desperately needs her. Imagine the Nike Clark League. With corporate backing, TV deals, and global reach, it's not impossible. It would take a few years, sure. But when your star player is worth more than the league itself, all bets are off.
And started her own league because of the way she's been treated. Would that work? What do you think?
You know, it's interesting. I thought of that too. Nike loves her. Nike, she's got Wilson, obviously. She's got Gatorade. I mean, even though the salary's, $76,000 for a rookie, it's more this year now. She's making, what is she, $28 million just from Nike alone, according to Wall Street. So she's at, $40 million or whatever. Okay, so fine. So she's doing great. And if Nike said, we're going to make the Nike Clark League,
right?
It would take, obviously it takes a few years to get the arenas and whatever, but the TV contract, I mean, it's